Okay, so we are going to look at the element of art called texture. And texture just describes the way that something feels, or sometimes it describes how the surface of an object would feel if you could actually touch it. So when it's three-dimensional artwork, like these vases down here that you can actually put your hands on, assuming they're not in a museum that tells you not to touch stuff, you would be able to feel an actual texture on them. But if you're looking at a drawing or a photograph of that artwork, it still has a texture. This still looks like it would feel like something. But if I were to start petting my computer screen, unfortunately, I would not be able to feel the texture of that vase. So it does still have texture, it's just not a texture I can touch. Looking at some other examples of texture in art, you can think of things like sculptures, like in these columns, those repeated lines or stripes in them are actually physical areas that go in and out from them, so I would be able to feel the ridges as I went across them. The front of these little horses here, they have this little pleat part. It's part of it actually like wraps around their stomach and comes back up over here if you can see. It's kind of like a beaded or bumpy design. We have this one here. What happens when an artist uses an unexpected texture on an everyday object? So this was a real fur teacup that you could physically pet and feel. Obviously, it's not super practical. We can't really drink out of it so much anymore, or at least I hope no one's drinking out of it anymore. But it's this idea of playing around with texture to draw your attention. Like this definitely grabs my attention. I don't know about you. You can use natural textures. So these wrinkles in these rhinos are based on natural things that actually exist in the real world. You could see a rhino and the rhino would have that kind of wrinkly texture. There's a variety of lines that can imply or suggest a texture. So all the little crinkles around Albert Einstein's little eyes there, they're not actual textures. It's a drawing. But it looks like it would be a texture of that wrinkled, rough, furrowed creases in his face. If we want to zoom out, we can see the whole picture here. It gives you a really, it almost looks like you could reach out and touch the wrinkles on that face. So you guys are going to have the opportunity to do a project where you create texture that you can either invent or base on something that really exists. And you're going to add it to a creature of your choosing to build a texture creature.